Hi, and welcome to More Human, More Resources, the HR podcast for entrepreneurs. I'm Vicki Brown, your host and CEO of Vidamaneo Enterprises. As a serial entrepreneur, I understand that having the right expert help has been critical to my success. That's why I'm dedicated to telling you, in plain language, what's going on in the world of HR that might impact your business and what you need to do about it, with real actionable tips to help you master that list of must-dos and grow your leadership muscle. First things first, the information contained in this podcast is provided for general purposes only and is not to be considered legal advice. Your decision to adopt or not adopt any practice or procedure mentioned in this podcast is solely yours, and we bear no responsibility for the outcome. We urge you to always consult legal counsel and other appropriate licensed professionals. And with that, let's get into the show. You're listening to Season 5, Episode 12. So have you ever had a team member who just rubs you the wrong way? Maybe it's how they communicate or their work style, or just something you can't quite put your finger on. Well, you're not alone. One of the toughest challenges you'll face as a leader is managing people you simply don't click with. Oh, I've been there, and let me tell you, it's a skill that separates successful leaders from struggling ones. So today I want to walk you through some practical tips for navigating this type of challenge, because your business success depends on your ability to lead everyone effectively, not just the people you naturally get along with. So first things first, you have to draw a clear line between someone's personality and their performance. As entrepreneurs, we often gravitate toward hiring people who think and act like us. It feels comfortable, right? But what your business actually needs is diversity of thought and approach. And yes, diversity in all its forms is a good thing. You know that quiet person who never speaks up in meetings? Well, they might be your most thoughtful problem solver. The direct communicator who seems abrupt? They might be saving your team hours of circular discussions. Remember, your job isn't to be everyone's friend. Your job is to build a successful business. And that means focusing on results, not rapport. When I catch myself feeling annoyed by someone's personality, I stop and ask, are they meeting their objectives? Are they contributing value? If the answer is yes, then my personal feelings need to take a back seat to their professional contributions. And that brings me to my second point, establishing professional boundaries. One of the biggest mistakes I see first-time leaders make is confusing their business team with family. Your team is not your family. When you blur those lines, you create a space where feelings trump performance. Professional boundaries actually protect both you and your team members. They create consistency and predictability, and that makes sure everybody thrives, regardless of personal chemistry. But what does that look like in practice? Well, it means having clearly documented expectations, regular, structured check-ins that focus on work objectives rather than personal chit-chat, and when necessary, giving feedback that addresses specific behaviors rather than broad personality traits. It also means being fair and consistent in how you recognize achievements and address problems. No favorites, no scapegoats, just clear standards that apply to everyone. When you maintain boundaries, you create space for professional respect to flourish, even when personal connection doesn't. Now for something a bit more uncomfortable, examining your own role in these dynamics. Every one of us has triggers and biases that color how we perceive others. Maybe someone reminds you of a difficult person from your past. Maybe their communication style feels threatening to you. Maybe their approach to work seems inefficient compared to how you do it. The key is recognizing when your reaction is more about you than them. I've learned to pause when I feel that instant irritation rising. I ask myself, what specifically is bothering me here? Is this about work quality or is this about style? Am I reacting to something legitimate or am I bringing my own baggage to this interaction? This kind of self-awareness isn't about beating yourself up. It's about gaining clarity. When you understand your triggers, you can make conscious choices rather than emotional reactions. And sometimes You'll even discover that the person you thought was difficult is actually bringing tremendous value that you were too annoyed to notice. And that leads directly to my fourth point. You've got to create systems that can actually minimize the impact of personality clashes. Strong businesses run on systems, not feelings. When you build robust processes, you create a framework that operates regardless of whether people like each other or not. This includes clear job descriptions so everyone knows their lane, documented workflows that specify how tasks move through your organization, objective metrics for measuring success, and standardized procedures for addressing problems. Because when these systems are in place, then you create an atmosphere where people can collaborate effectively, even when their personalities clash. The focus stays on the work rather than the relationship. And as a leader, these systems give you objective criteria for evaluating performance, and that helps make sure you're not letting personal feelings cloud your judgment. And finally, it's critical to distinguish between personality differences and genuine HR problems. Not every difficult relationship is cause for termination. In fact, learning to work effectively with people you don't naturally click with, well, that's a leadership growth opportunity. It stretches your capabilities and makes sure you're more adaptable as a leader. But there's a bright line between difficult to get along with and toxic to the workplace. When someone is consistently disruptive, violating policies, harassing others, or creating a hostile environment, that's not a personality clash. That's an HR issue that requires appropriate action. Before making any significant personnel decisions, consult your HR policies. If you don't have formal policies in place, get advice from an HR professional. These kinds of situations have legal and financial implications, and they go way beyond your personal feelings. I've seen too many small business owners make snap decisions based on emotion, only to find themselves facing costly consequences later. Managing people you don't personally like isn't about faking warmth or pretending to be best friends. It's about creating a professional space where everyone can succeed based on their merits. And the truth is, some of your most valuable team members might be people you wouldn't choose to hang out with after hours. That's not just okay. It's often exactly what your business needs to reach its full potential. Because at the end of the day, building a successful business isn't about surrounding yourself with people you like. It's about building a team that delivers results, even when personalities clash. If you found this information helpful, please leave a review and tell a friend. Thanks for spending the time. Until next week, same time, same place.